All right, guys, let's get into this. Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday. But I noticed in the comments section, as well as a short that I did about cost of living here in Medellin, Colombia, where some of you guys went and blew up that short I did about cost of living. And a couple of you guys left some questions behind. So I just want to share just a little ride around the city. This is heading out, going to get my haircut. This was actually yesterday, around noontime yesterday. So let me answer some of those questions that were left behind regarding living here and the cost of living questions that you have. So my experience is going to be a little different because I have a driver. Okay, it's sort of like me living here as a local with a car. Even though I have a driver, it's like I have a car because I never take the bus, I never take the metro, and I'm not doing that cable car. Ain't no way in hell. But my experience is going to be different than a lot. Now, this is a cost that I incur because it's like me having a car without having to pay car insurance, deal with any of the maintenance, and someone is driving the car for me. So when I say it's a similar experience to the States, the difference is she's driving versus me driving. But, you know, it gives me more freedom in the back of the car where I can be on the phone doing whatever or on my tablet doing whatever. And I just look up and see where I am. As long as I know where I am, I'm good. I'm good. But it also is a safety thing for me as well. You know, most tourists or most expats, they're going to take the bus, they're going to take the metro, or they're going to wait to call an Uber. This way, I'm not standing outside giving someone the opportunity to come by on a motorcycle to rob me. Same way in the parking lot. When you park in these malls, you know, we park underground. There's parking that you have to pay for. I just try to eliminate any issues where it's going to be a safety concern. And that's what I mean by I live a little bit different. Now, I'm not telling people they got to do what I do while I live here, because it's going to cost you monthly a lot more. Because if I do like a cost of living breakdown, right, where I'm moving to, the apartment is going to be about $1,400 a month. Okay. Then we have my health insurance. Now, health insurance, as I mentioned before, is based upon how much you make, right? They take a percentage of how much you make. So I'm not using my VA income. I'm using my Social Security income. And let's just say sometimes it bounces depending on the exchange rate. But let's just go with an average of $300, all right, for health insurance. So I'm at 17. Okay, now I'm not going to include the driver, I'm not going to include the maid, I'm not going to include the part-time chef, and I'm not going to include the caregiver. Those are extras that most of you guys probably are never going to deal with, all right? But I'm just going to stick to the other basics. So the only other bills that I have or things that I do monthly is obviously put food in the house. I'm going to say that's around $200. So you're at about 19 right now. And then personal things like haircuts, picking up things for the month for the apartment, like cleaning supplies, you know, personal hygiene items, things like that. You know, that's probably another 100. It's usually a little bit more, but I'll say 100. That'll put you at $2,000 for my budget so far, at $2,000. And then life insurance is taken out directly from my VA money, so I never had to worry about that one. And then the only other bill I have 2 cell phone bills from 2 different companies. Now, I explain that real quick. The reason why I carry 2 is because I have an iPhone and I have an Android phone, okay? And they both have their own service. One has service with Claro, one has service with Tigo, okay? Now, what I found from driving around Antioquia, which is the county, the state, right, is that one service will work great in some areas and the other service won't work well at all. So if I'm in an area where one is working great, I'll just use the hotspot from that one for my other device and keep it moving. So I've learned that over time. But between the both, because they're both totally unlimited, I can call the States, I can call Europe, I can call wherever. I can be on the internet for as long as I want to be on. And in some areas we have 5G service. So my iPhone 5G, my Android phone 5G is not a problem. But that bill, let's see, the Claro bill is more than the Tigo bill because the Claro bill is the iPhone with the Apple Watch Ultra. Okay, so if my phone dies, I can still make phone calls on my watch or respond to text messages and whatever on my watch. So my Claro bill is around 150,000 pesos. So let's say it's about $54 a month. My Tigo bill is about 110,000 pesos, somewhere in there. Let's say it's around $28, $27 a month. Let's just round it all up and say I pay about 80 bucks a month for cell service. So all in all, just my costs without including any of the extra, without including any spending money, right? I'm around $2,200 to $2,300 a month without including anything else. That's the caregiver, that's the part-time chef, that's the maid, and my driver. I'm not including none of that in there, right? And spending money. That's all separate. But those are just my basic monthly costs, about $2,300 a month. And that's why I'm looking at it like, you know, that's being in an area like this. This is the Poblado area that you're looking at right now. Now, there are many other areas you can go to. My friend just rented a spot in Itagüí. She's a Paisa, she's local. She's been living here her whole life. She was actually living in Robledo, and she found a spot in Itagüí for just under $400 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I have a video of that on my other channel, Markel's TV Shorts in Colombia. I did a video on that showing that apartment. But cost here, I think a lot of people have a misconception about cost, because like you can make it on any amount anywhere in the world. It just depends on what you're willing to deal with, what you're willing to put up with. There are people here on $1,200. They living in hostels, they living in roommate situations, they living in some areas that some of you guys be like, no way in hell. And some of you guys may go, well, man, it ain't that bad over it. Well, you know, to each their own. But I'm telling you from my perspective, I'm looking more at safety, I'm looking more at convenience, and I'm looking at more of a lifestyle that I live similar in the US. Now, obviously, I didn't have a driver in the US. I had a caregiver. I didn't have a part-time chef. And what else do I have? The maid. I had someone come and clean my own place, right? But again, these are expenses that most people are not going to have. Now, some of the other things that I have here to make it more convenient is I have memberships to some places where, like PriceSmart, it's 140,000 pesos, roughly 40 some dollars a year for membership there. And that's where I can get a lot of the stuff I'm used to from the States, like Degree deodorant, certain shampoos that they're not going to have here, certain lotions that they're not going to normally have here. That's where I get a lot of my American products, is from PriceSmart, which is basically Costco. Same goddamn thing, same layout. Everything is the exact same except for the name. That's the only difference. There's another store here similar to Walmart, which is the Home Center, right? Now, there's no membership to go into the Home Center, but the prices are definitely going to be different. So I'm just trying to point out these things to you guys because, and it doesn't matter where you go in the world. I don't care where you go. In any major city, you're going to find a lot of problems, or not, shouldn't say problem. You're going to find a lot of things that are similar in all these cities, but it all boils down to what you're willing to put up with and how much you're willing to spend. Now, take for example, when I'm traveling here, this is in Itagüí. If I were to go another 30 minutes past where this is, which would be Caldas, pricing is totally different in Caldas. Now in Caldas, I showed you guys a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment for about $150, right? But you got to deal with stairs. You got quite a few things to deal with there. Now, a lot of these older apartments where these people are staying, they're not up to code as far as American standards go. You know, you're not going to have the safeties in the bathroom with the plugs, and they got like my friend's apartment she's moving into next week. You know, they got the electric heads on the shower, and there's no safety there. Like the plug just plugs into the wall. There's no GFI plugs, nothing that short circuit. It's just all straight the way it is. So I look at things like that, like No, I don't want to be caught in this kind of situation right here. And then just moving in, and I'm gonna try to film them moving in, her moving in, and the guys putting their furniture in. I want you all to see how that really works, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when you rent a spot and whatever you put in there, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna fit the same way in your new spot. It all depends on the stairwell, how wide it is, how big it is, your windows to let things in, because sometimes they got to pull refrigerators through the windows. So it's a whole different situation. But anyway, though, guys, hopefully this information was helpful to some of you all, that you understand the way that I live here and why I talk about the things that I talk about. But other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Hey, I appreciate everybody watching as always, and hopefully you all have a great day.